Hey, what's going on out there in the world of YouTube? As you guys can see in the description box, I'm going to be making this video about the movie The Founder. I don't know if you guys seen this. I'm playing with these, what you call this real quick. Oh, it's kind of cool. But anyway, I'm making this video about the movie called The Founder on Netflix. As you can see, I'm sitting around the house on my in my PJs, you know, booking up my calendar for next year. And as I was sitting around, I was on Netflix. And I was on Netflix, and my wife had told me about this movie. She's like, "Hey, you should watch the movie called The Founder. It's about McDonald's." And I said, "Okay, since it's the holidays, I'm sitting around. Let me watch this movie called The Founder." And I'm very interested in documentaries. I love documentaries, things I can learn from. I love documentaries. I'm not a big fan of like regular fictional movies, but I love documentaries. And when I watched the documentary called The Founder, it's about McDonald's, and it's really starring a guy by the name of Ray Kroc. If you don't know who Ray Kroc is the guy. He's the CEO, or he's kind of known as the founder of McDonald's, right? And what I find very intriguing about this story was it reminded me of a good friend of mine, a mentor, Famous Amos, right? If you guys don't know who Famous Amos is, if you heard the cookies called Famous Amos, he's been on the show a couple times. We speak quite frequently and things like that. And McDonald's was founded by two twin brothers, right? And by these two twin brothers, they started out in San Bernardino. Let me switch arms here. My arms are getting a little tired. But by them, they started a hamburger joint. And they started a hamburger joint. Their last name was obviously McDonald's. And where their name was McDonald's, they went off to build a McDonald's, burger franchise. Ray Kroc, he's selling milkshakes, and he goes out and he discovers, this fast food. This wasn't fast food back in the 50s. It's like these brothers are coined for starting fast food. He loves the franchise. By him loving the franchise, he goes off and he decides to, hey, let me build one in Illinois and give me 1% of the company, or something, 1% of the sales. I think he was earning, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but it was getting something like 1 point something of the annual sales, and he grew it fast. The first thing I learned is that he had a great network. Like, how did he go to San Bernardino, find a burger joint, go back to Illinois, and within like the first month, open up like 3 or 4 stores with his friends? He went and talked to his friends and said, "Hey, I got this great idea. It's a store. It's called McDonald's. You should get one. Blah, blah. All you got to do, I do everything else." His friends automatically purchased on this. So that let me know that he had a very strong network, which is very important. He had a very strong network to be able to go out and be able to purchase, to have his friends invest into him that fast. That's not cheap. They had to buy the land, they had to build a restaurant. To put that type of money up that fast and trust him, let me know he had a strong, strong, strong network. One. Number 2 lesson that I learned was, as he started to do this, he expanded fast. He opened up a bunch of McDonald's. But when he needed more money, he couldn't get more money because he didn't own anything. Assets. Another lesson, lesson 2, assets. He didn't have any assets. When he was at the bank, he goes to the bank, and the bank tells him, "Hey, yes, you're earning sales. That's great, but do you have any assets?" "No, I don't have any assets." "How don't you have any assets when you franchise all of these McDonald's?" But the thing was, the people that the franchisees own the space. For prime example, someone comes to me, I go out, I buy the land, I buy everything, and I'm just owning, I'm running the McDonald's, and he's getting 1% of the sales. So he didn't own anything. They was like, "What do you own? What can you put up as collateral for us to give you a loan to be able to further expand?" So if you watch the movie, if you haven't watched the movie, this guy overhears this at the bank. He becomes the first CEO of McDonald's later on. But what he said was, he said, "Hey, listen, something that was coined in Robert Kiyosaki's book. Hey, McDonald's is not in the burger business, it's in the real estate business." And it changed everything. once they learned that. Once Mr. Ray Crocker learned that. So what he did was, he said, hey, if you want to franchise a McDonald's, I will buy the land and you lease the land for me. So when he brought the land, that immediately gave him assets, which assets can be used as collaterals to get more financing, right? When you go to a bank, they say, hey, what do you have as collateral? Well, I don't own anything. Well, it's kind of hard for us to give you a loan if you don't own anything. So he used that as an asset. Now, by him buying the land, he had it as an asset. Now he's a landlord. Now what he does on top of that, he turns around and he has a cash flow coming in from renting all these properties, right? So now sequentially, am I using, that's not even right. But anyway, he becomes bigger than the brothers, because the brothers, all the brothers had was a burger stand in the middle of California. This guy had turned their business and started selling land on it. You know, pretty much became a real estate landlord with their restaurant. The brothers couldn't control that because he said, hey, everything inside of McDonald's you guys run, but this is what I run. So he essentially became bigger than the brothers, and he brought out the brothers. Lesson number 3. He brought out the brothers for something. He brought the brothers for $2.something million. They both got $1 million each after tax, which wasn't a bad deal back in the 60s because, hey, they started a burger joint. They sold it for $1 million. Good on them, right? If you adjust for inflation, that's probably $2, $3, $4 million today, right? But anyway, what happened was the brothers, they negotiated 1% of the annual royalties, right? Now we know of the gross royalties. Now we all know that McDonald's, we all know that McDonald's grosses billions of dollars a day in annual revenue. So that 1% gross royalties that they wanted would have been worth hundreds of millions of dollars today. But instead, they didn't get it in writing. That was lesson number 3 in business. Get everything in writing. If it's not in writing, it doesn't count. So that was the third lesson I learned. They negotiated 1%, and Ray was like, hey, you know what? Let's handshake on it because I can't put it in the paperwork, because if I put it in the paperwork, other people, you know, my stakeholders are not going to want to do the deal. So they said, okay, well, we trust you. You just gave us $1 million check. They gave him $1 million check, and guess what? He never honored their royalties because they could not prove it. That was lesson number 3 out of the whole deal. Now, those are top 3 lessons. It was a great movie because I learned more about McDonald's. I learned a lot, you know, business-wise, of seeing how people run and things run. So I really loved it because I love the documentary, and I decided to do a review on it. The other thing, what else I learned out of that movie? Yeah, it drove me a lot. It drives you a lot to do something great, to see this guy on his path, his purpose of doing something great. Oh yeah, number 4 lessons. He copyrighted the name McDonald's, right? He said, hey, you think it's your speedy fast system, aka fast food, that is the golden nugget for this, but he said it's the name. The brothers was kind of focused on the system. He was focused on the name. He purchased the name, and by him purchasing the name, he ran those guys out of business to where they had to change the name from McDonald's to Big M's. Then he opened up a McDonald's across the street from their Big M's and put them out of business in a couple of years. So, wow. So number 4, copyrights and trademarks are assets. Those are 4 lessons that I took out of that movie. Great movie, by the way. I love documentaries, and seeing it be honest, it wasn't just told from Ray Crockett's side. It wasn't just told from the McDonald's brothers side. It was kind of, it was unbiased, I would say. But I really enjoyed it. While you're home for the holidays, if you got downtime, pop in, check out. Of course, I'm not sponsored for this or telling you to do this, no back end crap and nothing like that. But I enjoyed it. I just want to share with you guys. You guys keep enjoying the holiday season, and that's another Prince Review. Peace.